have some discussion in the previous chapter regarding the service-oriented architecture. So, what is service-oriented architecture? Service-oriented architecture, we develop systems by assembling the previously developed components, and each component has some generic model to provide services. So each component has a specific service. So that is the service-oriented architecture. And we have software as a service. So we have web services now. So SOA is the most widely used architecture for web services. Like in the previous lecture, we have some examples. Masalan, Amazon Web Services, Dropbox, Google Drive, email, GPS services, FM services, weather information services, and we have some generic services like transaction, unique transaction services in all e-commerce system. So instead, every service provider will have transaction, or every customer has his own transaction module. They take service from the service provider. Language, you move from one area to another area, so it will, according to the location, it will change the language. The nearby restaurants, shops, of the language of the guy who has his mobile, instead of the local language. Like you are Saudi guy, you go to Germany or France or Switzerland. So instead German language message will come, because you are from Saudi Arabia, so in Arabic the message will come. Language as per the user. So we have some paid services, and other way we have advertisements. The how service provider are earning. Google is service provider, so they have two ways of earning, either by subscription, you take subscriptions as a customer, or you have to see the advertisements. So web service and act or performance offered by one party to another. Although the process may be tied to physical product, the performance is essentially intangible and does not necessarily result in ownership of any of the factor of production. So software as a service is independent of the application. So you don't need to have your database, for example. You don't need to have your front end. So you can take front end from service provider, database from another service provider, server from another provider. So you don't need to worry that how I will purchase database, or I will customize database, or I will customize the business logic, I will customize the front end. Service providers will be there, and they will provide you the services. So for example, one database for multiple users, multiple customers, business logic, front end, like model view controller concept. So service provider can develop specialized services, customized services if you paid them. So that's the concept of web services. So service architecture, a means of developing distributed systems where components are standalone services, as I just said. We develop the systems having independent components and these components have standalone services. So design the system based on services. Each component has specific service. Each component has a specific service. Services may execute on different computers, like front end on another server, database on another server, business logic on another server. Or like I gave you example of transaction services on another server, database from another server to service provider. Standard protocols are developed to support service communication so they can intercommunicate with each other to exchange the data and information. So we have SOAP. S for Superman, O for Ox, A for Apple, P for Parrot. Am I correct? Am I correct? Then correct me. In Arabic, if you understand, soap means sabun. Is it sabun? Then what? Lux, Dove, Dettol. Simple Object Access Protocol. Simple Object Access Protocol. What is that? How to define Simple Object Access Protocol? It's a combination of HTTP and XML. It's a combination of HTTP and XML. So Microsoft, IBM, Lotus and many other vendors, they agreed on common protocol to exchange information over the web as a standard protocol, and SOAP is the standard protocol for web services, for web communication. And as I just said, it's a combination of HTTP and XML.
So,
Yes.
who designed the services based on what?
Again,
The services, how to define.
So-
how I mean, what kind of services?
I just mentioned so many services at the beginning of lecture.
No, I mean.
Email services, Google search services, weather services, stock exchange services, or for example, I just gave you example of transaction. Transaction is common in all e-commerce applications. So instead you develop your own credit check application or transaction application you take from another vendor. Or Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, you have your own customized database you take from a service provider. Or I gave you example of ASP. What is ASP? A for Apple, S for Spider-Man or Superman, P for Parrot. So Spider-Man and Parrot are fighting to eat apple. Am I correct? Application service provider. So application service provider will not only develop application, but they will also host, backup, maintenance, security. It's all their headache. So you don't need to worry as a customer that how much is the cost of server, how I will do the backup, how I will provide the security, how I will purchase the security technology. It's all headache of ASP. They will take the burden, the load, and they will do that. HP, STC, IBM, and there are many software companies which are ASP application service provider, service-centered architecture.
Okay.
Like Amazon Web Service, I just said. They have generic modules. You can take it as per your need. You pay them, they will do that. Like flight booking, or banking, or e-commerce. Then, for example, SAP, they have generic module. You can customize. So either you can ask them to do that, or you can do in-house. It's up to you. So if they will do, they are service provider, because it is their application, they are hosting, they are maintaining, they are doing backup, they are doing security. It's there, and you just pay them, take the services. Like broker, you don't need to sit in the stock exchange. Broker is there, agent is there. So agent will do the job of you. Just call him, pay him for his services. Or sales guy, marketing companies are there, advertisement companies are there. You pay them, they will make advertisement for you, and they will publish over the web or the media or whatever, the channel, TV or whatever. You pay them for their services. Same is the web services. So web service providers are there, or even your mobile phone, they are service providers. That's the reason you have roaming service. Like I have a SIM, I purchased from Pakistan, and I am still using here. Now it switched to Mobile or STC or ZAN, and I can still pay my utility bills of home by sitting here. It's a service provider. So your mobile phone SIM is the service provider. And in your mobile phone there are so many applications which are services. And I just said email is also a service. Google search is a service. GPS is a service. So you can find the location, or you can search the route. Google Map is a service. You don't know the location, or you want to find the which road has less traffic, which route has less traffic. It will tell you by Tahliya it will take so much time, or Palestine it will take so much time, or Medina road this time. Or if you take shortcut, it's up to you. Because GPS or Google Map has standard routes. But as a resident, you know these are the shortcuts. But it will guide for a stranger to reach to the destination. So we have service registry. You have to register your services. You have to register your services. You have service requester, like you are user, customer, you are service requester. To find the desired service. And so, simple object access protocol is the binding as a protocol, standard protocol for intercommunication. And service provider is there to provide the service. And they publish it, and it will access from the registry that which service is suitable for this user. And we have a language, WSDL. W for web. S for Superman or Spider-Man. D for donkey or hamar or dog. L for lion. Am I correct? Web service definition language. To define your services, description of your services, you will provide using web service definition language. Define your services, web service definition language. So that's the service-oriented architecture, how it works. Any question? Benefits. Services can be provided locally or outsourced to external providers. Language independent. As I told you, you move to Germany, France, America, China, as per the user language, it will display, translate into that language. Investment in legacy systems. So you can use legacy systems as well. Old systems, you can still use them and you can access them, having the APIs to communicate. Inter-organizational computing is facilitated through simplified information. So information exchange is there. So there are three key standards. So a message exchange standard that supports service communication, the protocol. Web service definition language to define your services and provide interface, service interface and its binding. And we have BPEL, web service BPEL. E for ball, P for parrot, E for elephant, L for lion. Am I correct? Correct me. Business web service, business process execution language. Business process execution language. A standard for workflow language to define service composition, how to compose the services. Integrator. To integrate your services, we have BPEL, business process execution language. So this for binding the services, this for intercommunication, exchange the services, the SOAP standard, intercommunication, and this is how to integrate the services. These are three standards for service contract. These are all standards available for web services. XML. What is XML? XML. Xbox. M for monkey, L for lion. XML. Your expressions are like I'm talking about aliens, Mars, Marine, black hole, moon, outside of this world, not in IT field, or I'm talking about medical terminologies or business terminologies. XML. What is HTML?
Hypertransfer.
HTML, a cloud. Hypertext markup language. To develop web pages for websites, web applications. XML, extensible markup language. Extensible markup language. HTML is just used to display data, just to publish data. XML can be used as a database, as schema. What is schema? Schema.
In database, it's a table.
Yeah.
Schema is a logical grouping of database objects such as tables, fields. So XML is used for schema, XSD, XML schema definition. You can define schema. So XML can be used as a database, like database. And all functions of database can be performed by XML. Like in database we have data manipulation. What is the meaning of data manipulation? Data manipulation. Insert, delete, edit and retrieve. There are four main functions of database. Four main functions of database. You can insert data, you can delete data, you can edit data, you can retrieve data. XML can be used as a database and you can have all those functions of database and you can have data manipulation, insert, delete, edit and retrieve. And it has its own architecture which is called DOM. D for dog, O for ox, M for monkey. Am I correct? Correct me. Document, object, model. Document, object, model. So for example, you want to define database fields. You want to define database fields like emp ID, emp name, department ID, department name, ST ID, ST name. So like name. Name is parent tag. Parent node, we also call it node. Parent object. First name. Your first name?
Said.
Said. So I define first child of this parent. First child. First name. And I define the data Said. Similarly, you can have middle name, you can have last name. So I am skipping the middle just to save time. Last name.
Prince Salman.
Last name. And like HTML, the tag open first, closed at the end. Like HTML head, body, title. So I open name first, I closed last. So we have parent, first child, second child, and close the parent. And we have the data, Said bin Salman. Now I can insert at runtime, delete, edit, and retrieve as like a database. And then HTML has standard tags. HTML has standard tags compatible with browser. So you just need browser and it will be executed. But XML, because you have customized tags, so you only browser is not enough. So how you will execute these tags? Any other requirement other than browser? We need compiler like C, C++, Java. We need compiler and it is called parser. Parser, to parse the tags, to process the tags. Name of any parser? MS XML by Microsoft, Xylon by Apache. These are two popular parsers, compilers available to execute XML. So XML technology, XML, XST, XML schema definition, XSLT unit, transformation. So you have to define like CSS, cascading style sheet. You have XSLT, extensible style language transformation. Extensible style language transformation. Then you have web service security as a support, web service addressing, the process of integrating the services composing by the business process execution language, and you have web service definition language as to define the services, to have the interface of the services. This is another standard equal to web service definition language, UDDI. UDDI. You heard about UDDI? Universal Description, Discovery, Integration. Universal Description, Discovery, Integration. Like web service definition language, to describe the services and discover them, identify them, where is the service located, and then integrate them. But it's not accepted by the industry, not practiced. Web service definition language is the most popular standard for service definition. And then you have intercommunication, SOAP is there, and it uses the same procedure like Corba. In Corba, how we communicate? Between components or application level. How we communicate in Corba? Using RPC. What is RPC? R for rat, P for parrot, C for cat. Remote procedure call. And you have process marshalling and unmarshalling. Like you want to call some component or service or data, so you want to call like courier. You have packet, envelope or parcel. It will pack like DHL, SpeedX or any courier service provider. You go to his office or his agent will come to your office. They will pack it, wrap it and ship it. So over the network, if somebody wants to see what is inside, it will be abstracted. It will be hidden. Nobody can read what is the actual content. It may contain your credit card information or anything, or business model or business contract, anything. Business data. So at the receiving end, so one component or application which needs services become client, and which is providing service become server. So at the client end, marshalling, send over the network. At the receiving end, it will unmarshal, open, like you will receive the packet and you will open. What is inside? It needs data, function, method, object, and then it will be provided. Again marshalling over the network, received to client end, again unmarshal. And the procedure used to call is RPC, remote procedure call. So SOAP use RPC, remote procedure call, same marshalling, unmarshalling. And then you have standard HTTP, XML is a combination of, SOAP is a combination of HTTP and XML. So HTTPS, what is HTTPS? Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol, security. As I told you, marshalling, security is there. And simple mail transfer protocol if you need, like mail services, message services. These are all layers of the standard web service protocols and the standards. Any question? This is another protocol, it's called RESTful, representational state transfer, like so, but it is not accepted like UDDI by the industry, by the customers, by the companies. So representational state transfer is an architectural style based on transferring or representing resources from a service to a client, like so. So this style underlies the web as a whole, and it is simpler than SOAP and web service definition language for implementing web services. So it is better than, but still companies are not using and not accepting. Let's have a scenario for services. So we have weather information, you have GPS over the as a scenario, translator for language information, you have receiver, you have FM radio services, then transmitter, locator, interface, so mobile services, road locator, traffic information, these all are services. As you are driving your car, and then you move from one area to another area, so another service provider, from one service provider to another service provider, automatically, without the knowledge of the customer, without the knowledge of the user. It's all abstracted. Like distributed systems, it's not a problem of the user that how I can see one page as one system and independent servers, independent computers are working. That is the concept of distributed systems. A collection of independent computers appear to the user as a single system. Collection of independent computers and appear to the user as a single system. It's not his problem how many servers, like you search on Google, maybe data is coming from 20, 30 servers. But it's not your problem, you can see as one page, 20 links are there. Same, these services are there on your mobile and you don't feel they are coming from different service providers. And from one service provider, it switched to another service provider, you don't know. It's abstracted. Any question? Any question?
So the user interface is
As you can see on your mobile.
the only interaction between the architect.
Yes. So you have the service provider like SIM is there, and you can get those services and whatever you have installed like GPS or you have Google Map and such things. You have installed Google, automatically these services will come. WhatsApp, Facebook services, automatically it will come. You don't need to worry about that. Like I told you, I was in Pakistan and Google is sending message to me, you are away from your home. Because Google is thinking, I'm resident here. I'm here for the whole year. And I'm sitting in my office and Google is sending me a message that time to go home, checking my routine, that I'm sitting more than my routine. Or there was 1 week break, semester break, I was at home, it is sending a message, time to go office, why you are at home? It's a service. Or stock exchange shares information for Almarai, Aramco, STC, Nadik, Nehdi, it's coming if you are dealing with the stock exchange. Weather information is coming to you. By default, it's coming because you have service provider. Or you are traveling, you have Google Map, you search on that, services will come. So there are two ways, either you pay subscription or you will have to see the advertisements. That is the reason service provider will earn the money. Customized services or generic services. If generic, then you have to see the advertisements. Or you pay the subscription, then you will not see the advertisements. Any other question?
So how does the generic earn money from user watching advertisements?
How?
How generic in generic? How does the provider earn money when user watching advertisements?
Because as advertisements are running, the money is going to because they have taken the money from the company whose advertisements you can see. They already take the slots from this time to this time, from Google, from Amazon, from YouTube, from Facebook. They already charge them. So as you open, like you want to watch some video, advertisement is coming.
Yes.
So they already took money from them. This slot to this slot, as many customers who did not have the subscription, it will come.
So you skip the.
Yes. But it's already there. It's already run one time. It takes some time. Sometime you cannot skip.
Yes.
You have to see. Or after 10 seconds or 20 seconds, then you can skip. So they already charged them previously. They already take the money from them. They already took it. So it's not your problem, it's not their problem. Any other? So there are so many advantages we already discussed. As car moves, the software uses the service discovery service to find the most appropriate information service and bind to that. Because the use of translation services, it can move across borders, as I told you, from one area to another area. Therefore, make local information available to the people who don't know speak the local language like German, French, Chinese, or Russian. So we have service-oriented architecture, service-oriented engineering. So services are considered as reusable components, like the component-based software engineering. The distinction between service and the component, service don't have a required interface, not necessarily every time you need an interface, whereas component has an interface. So web service definition language. This is the service engineering process. You have to identify the candidate, the component or the service, then service requirements. You have service design, service interface specification, service implementation and deployment and validation, the testing, and you deploy the service over the server. This is the service engineering process. Any question? Underlying whatever the methodology you use, very simple. But these are the steps to engineer a service, to develop a service. Any question? Service identification, what kind of service you want to provide. Then you will collect the requirements, generic or customized. Then you will design the service, interface specification. Then you will implement and deploy, test. Any question? This is the end of this chapter. Now I move to next chapter, software configuration management. I'm using Pressman. Somerville, I'm not using because I feel this is the better. You can study the Somerville or you can study this Pressman. Software configuration management. What is configuration? Software configuration. What is configuration? Software I already defined. What is configuration?
Figure out.
Figure out information related to software. Like we have hardware configuration. How much the memory size, how much the warranty, what are the technical requirements, support. Same as software. The information related to the software, that is the software configuration management. How to use it, how to customize it, how to fix it, how to update it, upgrade it. All such information is called software configuration. And management, meaning, how to define management? You have management science discipline as well. Like BBA, Bachelor in Business Administration, MBA, Masters in Business Administration.
Managing the services.
Management means planning, monitoring and control. There are three functions of management or manager. Like every Saudi student wants to become Mudir after the degree. immediately after the bachelor, he directly wants to get the first job as a mudir. And in industry, in software, he must have 10 years or 10 plus years of experience, then he becomes the manager. So he must have planning skill. He can plan the projects specification, function specification, design specification, technical specifications. He can monitor. So budget, schedule, team, all can effort required. Then he can monitor the project. It's going in right direction, Sirat Mustaqim or Shaitan Par. You are going correct in terms of planned budget, planned schedule. And the difference between the actual budget, actual schedule is less between the plan and the actual in terms of cost, in terms of time, and he can take corrective action, and risk he can manage. And if there is a risk, something going wrong, you are going towards the shaitan path, so he can take corrective action to bridge the gap and to direct it towards the right track to accomplish it successfully. So software configuration management. How to define as a software configuration management? No matter where you are in the system life cycle, system will change and the desire to change will persist throughout the life cycle. There is a saying about 5000 BC. There is nothing permanent. I'm sorry. There is nothing permanent except change. There is a saying 5000 BC. Before Christ, there is nothing permanent except change. So change will always be there. Software configuration management will help you to manage the changes inside a software. Software configuration management will help you to manage the changes that you made in a software. You can plan, you can monitor, you can control the changes inside a software.
Before the implementation.
Huh?
Before the implementation.
Before the implementation, of course. So that's changes will always be there. So you need software configuration management. What are the changes? Changes in business requirements, changes in technical requirements, changes in user requirements. So you have project plan, you have the software methodologies, you test, you have code, test, and the other documents as well. So these are the main changes you have to manage. Business requirement, technical requirement, user requirements. And it's normal. You cannot ask the customer, don't change. And like I asked you, don't ask me any question. It's normal, student will ask. If he doesn't understand, he will ask. Should be asked. This is a learning environment. Because question is the first step of learning. And same in the software, you have a customer and he has requirements and it will change. He will tell you, change this. So he can use that software. You can ask him, no change. It will be. Because business requirements are changing, technical requirements are changing, user requirements are changing. Sometimes business growth, sometimes downsizing. So you have to change. Sometimes Hukuma, government, force some tax like VAT in Saudi Arabia, 5%, then 15%. So systems have to change. Or like COVID-19, there are so many changes, so you have to. Like Tawakkalna or Umrah application, you need permission, passes, mask requirements, temperature requirements, vaccination doses. So you have to change your systems as per the business needs, as per the technical needs, as per the user needs. And software configuration management will help you. So what is software configuration? All information related to program, code, the technical document, and the user document. So you have user manuals, help files, technical document, project specs, function specs, design specs, and then the data about that you are storing in the software. That's also part of software configuration. Or like services, they have data. We just talked about web services. Data about different customers. Like according to the data, Facebook will show you your interest, the videos related to your interest, the posts related to your interest, YouTube, Amazon, eBay, Carrefour. Based on previous data, business data, Amazon will show you as per your needs. Like you are interested in books, it will show you related to the books advertisements. Or you have purchased something from Carrefour, Lulu, Hyper Panda, Danu, they will show you. Or IKEA, whatever you want to say. Furniture related advertisements. Or extra, it will show you. So that's the software configuration.
Changes are on current systems.
The system in use, of course.
But why we need to change if the current system is working?
Because I told you, user requirements are changing, business requirements are changing, technical requirements are changing. You have to change. New technology is there, or your business is growing. You have more employees, more requirements. You will change, or you have downsizing. You are reducing your business. You are decreasing your products. You are increasing your products. Or user will feel, I need this function, this function, this function. I need this report. I need this report. It will change. There is nothing static except dead body. Otherwise, everything is changing. So you cannot ask the customer no change. It's dynamic. Like Hukuma asked to implement VAT. Can you say to Hukuma, no, our system is running fine, we will not implement. So what they will do? They will come and close Baldiya or whatever. They will fine you, close the shop. Thank you. Where is the VAT in your system? You have not implemented. How come? So you have to. Our user is asking, I need this function, I need this function, I need this report, I need this report. Or like it's an ERP system, you have one, then second, then third, then fourth. It's ongoing process. Like every lecture, we have new content. Can I teach you the same content in every lecture? I say it's going very fine. So we have a very good lecture. Let's repeat it. The same lecture again and again. Okay? You study 251 and next semester you say, okay, again 251 because we study very well in the last lecture. Let's repeat it, the same course. Can you do that? No. The same is the system. How you can ask? It's going fine. Technical requirement, new technologies are introduced, you have to change. Like now web services are there, you have to change. So baseline is your foundation, project specs, the proposal, a specification of product that has been formally reviewed and agreed. So when you change your requirements, your baseline, proposal or project specs will change. Because it is your foundation, the planning document. So whenever customer will change some requirement or business requirements change or technical requirements change, you will change your plan. Go back. During implementation or during maintenance, same. During implementation, You are at the design level and customer change your requirements. So what you will do? You will go back to your plan, change your plan, again analysis, and then design. So baseline in your foundation, you change the baseline. And we have software configuration item. Each item like project specs, function specs, design specs, code, technical specs, they are called as an item, software configuration item, SCI. So whatever you change in any document, you change the software configuration item. Like you go to HyperPanda or Danu, you have items, products. So we have products, components, and this component is called an item. That is the software configuration item that are there. So you have system specification, software requirement, design specification, source code, test plan, operational. These all are there. So design specification, test specification, component, source code, data, model, these are called software configuration objects or items. And you need software configuration management systems. Software configuration management systems. We call them repository. SCM systems. Like
Concurrent threading.
yes, your assignment topic is there. We have CVS, VSS, SVN, and GitHub for distributed configuration management. So concurrent version system, Microsoft, Visual Source Safe, Apache, open source, subversioning system, and GitHub. It was developed by Linux company chief executive Linus Torvald. Then Microsoft purchased it at the cost of $7.5 billion. How much cost? $7.5 billion. From Linus Torvald. And you heard about Minecraft game. It was purchased by Microsoft at the cost of only $2.5 billion. And GitHub, $7.5 billion. So you need to have software configuration management systems. GitHub is the most widely practiced now because of distributed environment, distributed teams. Half team in America, half team in India, half team in Pakistan, half team in Dubai. Distributed teams. So team from any location can see any update, any change. So it's very good for information sharing. Information sharing. These are the main functions of software configuration management system. Data integrity. What is data integrity? Data integrity. How much data is reliable? So it's consistent in all places. You change any information, any component in America, in India they can see. In Pakistan they can see. In Dubai they can see. So data integrity is there. Information sharing, as I just said, it's correct, valid, and you share. Tool integration, it's integrated with tools, with .NET, with Java, with other tools. Data integration, you can integrate the data. So data integrity is different, data integration is different. Don't mix them, no milkshake, no leaven. No milkshake, no leaven. This is integration. This is integrity. Integrity means, like we say salama. Somebody is sick, we say salama, healthy. This is the same concept here. It's a correct, it's reliable, it's authentic. Like authorized sources, BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, or books, authorized source, your teacher, your instructor. Methodology, you can implement whatever the methodology, you can have the data configuration management support, how the stages, SDLC phases are implemented, and document standardization, your coding template, your testing template, your project specs template, function specs template, design specs template. These are the main functions of software configuration management repository. So repository content is there, software content, business content, project management content, validation verification content, module content. This all there. These are the main features of software configuration management. Versioning, multiple versions. Like I gave you example of NetSol technology. Sorry. NetSol Technologies has a software lease soft. It was developed first time for BMW, and then Mercedes, then Nissan, then Yamaha for leasing, taxi, for vehicle leasing, unlike Latif Jameel. From 1996 till today, 100 plus versions are there for different customers. UK, USA, Germany, Australia, Taiwan, Korea, India, Middle East. All countries they have offices. So it will help you which of the versions are there. Any new project comes, you just match which of the version is close to the requirements for the system or component level. Little customization. Thank you very much. Done. Change management. If you make any change in a version, you can manage the changes inside a component or at the system level, object level. Requirement tracing. You change the requirements, you can trace. Configuration management as a whole, and then you can audit why you make changes, who made changes, when made changes. Like you develop a component and you integrate, you develop a module, you integrate, and all teams can see this is done by Said. For example, you don't like Said in Pakistan or India, you make change in that. So it was working, he tested before integration, now you make changes in that, now it's not working. So to control that, you have to justify why I am making this change, then you are responsible. Like I taught you a concept called ownership. Code ownership. You are owner of the code. Said is the owner of the code, and you make change because you don't like him and you want to pull the legs of Said. Now you become the code owner because you make change in that. So you have to test it and you have to integrate it. And it should function as it was functioning before when Said has integrated. So what are changes? Why changes? Who changes? Date and time also. You can track all to the configuration management system. Any question? So you have component elements. Let me finish the course. You have component element, you have process element, you have construction element, you have human element. These are the main elements of software configuration management. So components, the tools, including the database, including the the development tools, the process element, the methodology you are using to make changes or to develop, the construction, the tools for versioning, for change management, version management, and the human element, the team who will make changes in that. That is a human element. So as a process, we need to address the following questions. How does the team identify the elements of software configuration? How does an organization manage existing versions? How does the control those changes? Who has the responsibility and what is the mechanism to appraise those changes? So we have a board, it's called CCB. CCB. Any idea? It's called Change Control Board. Change Control Board. Customer, if customer wants to make any change, he has to fill a form. It is called CRF. Change Request Form. Change Request Form. He will submit this change request form to Change Control Board CCB to evaluate this change is justified, reasonable, logical, implementable, time, cost. If CCB approves, then you will assign to the team member to implement. Otherwise, they can reject that this is illogical. Like customer is asking you to do some magical thing. Sahar. Something not white. He's trying to have some black. Wrong. Play with the system. So you say, sorry, I can't do that. So that's the. So we have layers. Reporting, auditing. So after audit, you make report, version control, change control, and then you have the identification and software configuration items are there. So version control, change control, and this is the change management process. Customer will submit change request form. Change request, it goes to CCB or any change control authority. You may call it CCB or any authority. And then they will assess, evaluate the change request, select or close, illogical. If they accept, they will pass change request to team, and then interaction is there, change request form, close or register, then implement, analysis, cost, how much time, how much cost, modify, test, and pass or fail. This is the whole change management process. Any question? This is the end of the course. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.